Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Chris. I am the system scientist. For those of you who don't follow my videos or anything like that, basically, I have a background in coaching, SaaS, agency work, and things like that, and coaching as well. And I kind of have a program for phone flippers and buyback companies that kind of merge all of that together. And now I'm here. And I use this channel to kind of just express my thoughts to the world. Um, so that I kind of stay category king in my niche. But I also like to get other ideas out into the world so it's out of my brain. Because if it's out of my brain, that allows me to focus on what I do best instead of just shiny objects and everything else. Anyway, today, guys, what I want to do is I want to talk about niche virality, and becoming the category king in your niche. Okay. Everybody talks about scaling big, right? But the truth is, the riches are in the niches. Okay. When you dominate one niche and become the category king, you don't have to chase attention anymore. Okay. The attention comes to you. And right now, I am experiencing what I call niche virality. All right. Where I've become the go-to person in the space. All right. Um, Now let me define what a category king is. Okay. A category king is the default person people think of when they hear your industry. Okay. It's the first person that pops up when you do a Google search, and stuff like that. Okay. Now I want to be very clear. The category king that I am specifically is not like, so I teach phone flippers how to scale their businesses with systems, automations, and paid advertising. That's my niche. My niche is not phone flipping and side hustles. Okay. My niche is incredibly specific. I help phone flippers turn into buyback companies through automation, paid advertising, and scaling systems. That's what I do. That's me. Okay. That's what I am known for. Okay. Um, so the category king is the default person for that. Okay. You don't want to compete on being better. More or less, you want to compete on being different. And if you've ever actually read Expert Secrets, this right here, this book talks about that. And this is actually, I've read this book like 5 times at this point, learned something different every single time. I love the book. It's great. And I read it once at least a year at this point. Um, so a couple of examples here, guys, is like Apple with the iPhones, right? They're obviously the category king, right? Gym launch for gyms with Alex Hormozy, right? Like those are examples of niche virality and becoming the category king, right? They both brought completely different ideas to the space, completely redefined the space, and completely just made the whole thing kind of look new, right? So, so a little bit of proof from my journey. In the phone flipping space or the buyback space, people in the past were simply like this was a side hustle to them, right? This is something they did when like things got tough and like they got scrappy, right? Like that was how this was viewed. Um, I was probably the first person to actually like truly, I mean, other than my mentor, but I was the first one to probably truly like look at it with systems and processes that larger businesses had in place already. And I was like, why those businesses there have that? Why can't this business have that? Right. An example of that was Facebook ads. So I kind of pioneered Facebook ads after my mentor launched his first course. I took it a lot of steps further. Um, and while everybody else was doing like free advertising that was starting to get banned, I did Facebook ads. People laughed at me because they were like, "Why are you paying for ads? We get leads for free." And I'm like, "Well, that's going to dry up. Like that's going to happen. Like Facebook is not going to allow that forever, right?" I built a Google Ads system before anybody else in the space could do it. And I've been 2, 3 years ahead of most of my competitors by a long shot. Okay. I created automation tools for marketplace reach outs that would send messages automatically. I led with Google My Business, so Google Business Profiles early before most of the industry even caught on. Right, even right now, most of the industry has not caught on to that. And now I am recognized as the category king in phone flipping and buybacks when it comes to creating systems, processes, paid advertising. That's what I am known for. And I get paid incredibly well for it. We onboard 3 to 4 clients a week at the time I'm filming this. What does that look like? That's 9,000 to about $12,000 in revenue every single week right now. Okay. So we're doing very well in a niche where historically people are broke. Okay. So, and that's what happens when you become the category king, is because there's nobody else that can come even close to what you're doing. Okay. So, what does niche virality look like? And this is something I lean into heavily. All right. So, this is basically when you dominate a niche. All right. Your content spreads inside the niche without you chasing views. So, an example of this, and honestly, this is probably how we were able to create niche virality. In for me and my business, we started a podcast, a very specific podcast. There was no podcast for phone flippers. There was nothing like that out there. We started one. We are now over 100 episodes. That podcast has generated me well over 6 figures, well over at this point. And here's the crazy part. It only gets about 200 views per video, but it's talking to a very specific type of person. Okay. So this is what I call niche virality. All right. And so an example of this is like even a small channel or group can make massive impact because you're the only option at that point. Okay. You're like the only one. Like Chris is the only one with a podcast for phone flipping. Chris is the only one with tutorial videos. Chris is the only one that ever talks about Facebook ads, Google My Business, and this stuff and systems. Nobody else does that. And then it makes you become the default option. Okay. So I used to try and go wide with my content. And what would happen is and I would go quote unquote viral, which I term as like 10,000 views or more, right? Um, and here's what would happen is that would actually hurt my business because it would bring in a lot of people that weren't actually the ideal client. Okay. Because my ideal client is somebody who's already making money in the space. So that knocks out a lot of people that could be watching my video, right? So my type of person is the person that's already making money in the space and is making more than $1,000 in profit per month. That's my ideal client. That's a very small amount of people, but because I'm targeting those very specific people with my words and my channel and my stuff, they're the only ones that follow me. Okay. So this gives me a massive advantage. My channel only has about 5,000 subscribers, 5,300 at the time, like my other channel, my main channel for flipping, not this one. But um, guys, like you can go viral in a niche. So, for example, I actually did the math a while back. There's only about 5,000 to about 70,000 total like phone flippers that are serious about the business in any capacity in the United States. So, for me to have like 5,300 subscribers that are like very specific to and following me for that reason, that means I've effectively like cornered about 10% of the entire market, which is quite wild. Now you'll see other channels out there that have like 100,000 and 25,000. And what's funny is I'm friends with those guys. They don't make nearly as much money as I do because they're not niched down. They talk to the masses, right? So they get all the freeloaders, they get all the tire kickers, they get all of those guys, and then they like I got one guy who tried to start a Skool community and he was having trouble getting people to join for $1,700 a month, like $17 a month. I charge $3,000 currently. 3,000. And I don't have nearly the subscriber base that he does. Okay? And yet we have 3 to 4 people sign up a week at $3,000 total for a 6 month program. So niche virality is a real thing. You need to lean into it. Okay. Um, so just to be clear about this, you don't need millions of views. Okay. You just need the right 1,000 people to see you as the authority, and you can make millions. The award behind me is for doing $1 million in revenue through a Facebook group. Okay. That Facebook group only has about 15,000 people. All right. And I would have to say like 10% is active. Okay. So you don't need a lot of people to watch your stuff. All right. Does it help? Sometimes if it's the right person, right? So, now, so a good example of this is my Skool community right now. So we have a Skool community called Nothing Held Back Phone Flipping. We have hundreds of active people, about 400 plus right now. We have been now the interesting thing about my community is we ban people who don't finish a 5-day course. Okay, so that's like a very different way of doing things, but it works insanely well. We've generated about $40,000 in the past 90 days from that alone. And that's because it's very niche and it's very strict. And it's working insanely well. Now, however, my YouTube channel still converts like crazy. All right. So here is I'm going to give you guys kind of a formula here. The riches and the niches formula. You've probably heard Ty Lopez say this. Alex Ramosi has said this stuff. But you need to pick a specific niche. And I'm talking like really specific. Okay. So if you're going into like real estate or something like that, you need like your niche can't be real estate. There's a lot of people in that niche already. So you want to like go 3 layers down into real estate for, man, I don't know. I don't really know the industry that well, but um, let me pick one that I know. Um, eh, I'll add something to the companion document for you guys and understand a little bit better. But you just want to go really, really, really deep. So an example from my industry would be like, I teach phone flipping, right? Well, that's pretty generic, right? So I teach phone flipping for people that are already doing $1,000 in profit per month, and I teach them how to install systems, processes, and automation into their business. Now I'm talking to a very specific person, right? So that's what I'm talking about in terms of niche down, big time. All right. And plant your flag. Okay. You need to be loud, bold, and claim the space. All right. People will listen. Okay. Innovate. Always stay 1 to 2 steps ahead with tools, systems, and strategies. Document the wins, testimonials, proof, podcasts, whatever. Okay. On the thing of podcasts, I will have to say, since we started a podcast, my authority in the space skyrocketed. Okay, because we were the only one. We're the only podcast that that type of person can listen to because we are the only one. So we have effectively dominated the space with the podcast. We're also on Apple, Spotify, and all the other platforms now too. So like people listen to it because we're the only option they have for it. And we plan on staying that way. And we plan on running so far ahead of the competition that they will never catch up. Okay? Ever. We're 100 episodes deep. So, or 104 now. Um, I've also written a book as well. Like, this is another way that you can really dominate your niche. You can write a book. Okay? You don't need to sell a lot of copies. This book has already made me about $20,000. This book right here. Okay. It sells for like $10 on Amazon. Okay. I had a guy join my program the other day because he read my book and he's been following me for 2 years on Facebook, by the way. So that's another way you can go niche viral is by posting very specific stuff on Facebook, on Instagram, on stuff like that. So the goal is not to be generic, it is to be very specific on what you're trying to do. Okay. Um, and then build systems that make you the only real choice. I'm the only real choice in my industry at this point. The only one. Because I have the credibility, I have the authority, and I have the tools and the systems and the processes. There's literally nobody else that can do it. Now, just being real, to get to this point, it is very hard. You have to learn a lot. You have to say no to a lot of opportunities, which is very difficult to do. I'm going to be real with you. You're going to look up and you're going to be like, man, why am I doing this? Like, nobody's listening to me. I got 20 views on my last YouTube video. But what you didn't know is those 20 views were helping people, like, those 20 people were watching for a very specific thing. Okay? 20 people is 20 people, and that's how I started. All right? My channel is still not quote unquote viral. I've only ever had one video really top like 15,000 views. So don't don't look at the vanity metrics. Okay. Um, so why this matters? So just being clear, like if you're competing on broad terms, just to kind of recap here, if you go wide with your content, you're one of many. Okay, you don't stand out whatsoever at all. All right. Um, you don't if you own your niche, you become the only choice. Okay. And then once again, you don't need to go viral everywhere. You don't need millions of views. Okay. Just go viral inside your niche. And if you can do that, you will win by default. Because, um, like I said, I have 5,000 subscribers. I get an average of 200 people that watch my videos, and my YouTube channel makes me six figures for free, basically, other than the work and the work I have to put in, right? Um, So, by the way, I have a category king video. I made it a while back, but I actually taught this a while back at a mastermind. So if you guys want to go check that out, you can. It's on the channel. It is called what's it called? It's me actually speaking. It's called Category King Low Ticket Membership Model for Ascending to High Ticket Buyers. So I don't really use the model in its entirety anymore as far as the low ticket part. I still use every other part of it though. I just don't pay people don't pay me to get into my low ticket anymore. So the way it works now is they join for free, and they either stay or get banned. And that's how the model works now. Still works the same exact way though. But you guys can go view it. I go over the whole thing. It's about a 50-minute training, and I break it all down. It's pretty cool. I feel like I did a pretty good job with it. Um, so, couple of things. There will be a companion guide below for you guys. So make sure that you check out the companion guide. It'll have the tools and stuff that I use for pretty much everything, to help me stay ahead of all these people that try to copy me. By the way, if people copy you, congratulations. You're doing something right. So keep doing it. But go be the category king. Stop trying to go viral. You usually don't make that much, to be honest, when you go viral. Okay. Especially if you're just going after ad revenue, you're not gonna become super rich. That's very, and also like you're not actually building anything of substance, unless the channel is like bringing money in on the back end somewhere and it's an actual business. All right. With that being said, I hope this video helps you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video I make.